What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're jumping into another mini Schnauzer. This sucker is $3 entry, 37,200 entrants. It's almost full. 10,000 to first place, $100,000 prize pool, half point PPR, start 3 wide receivers. Best ball and underdog, you know the drill. And shocker, Gibbs is off the board. We're drafting from the 10, so quite a few of these we're seeing at the back end of the board here, but that's all good. The last one was all in on the Eagles. Let's see if we can do a little differently this time. But yeah, we'll see how we go here. So I'll be targeting James Cook here at the 10th pick pretty easily. Gibbs, Robinson off the board. You know, these so commonly just chalk out through 7 or 8. And even if you see a little bit of fluctuation here in the first 8 picks, they're all the same guys, right? Chase is going to go here, then Nakua, then JSN. Then McCaffrey, Taylor, and then after McCaffrey, Taylor, there is a little weirdness in terms of where CeeDee Lamb and or Justin Jefferson may go, but it's not too different. I mean, these are the premium assets in fantasy football are pretty well determined, pretty well disclosed, and pretty obvious. So I'm not 100% convinced that we are going to get anything weird or different here, depending on what we see. All right, so McCaffrey goes at 6. This will be Taylor, Lamb, or Jefferson, almost certainly, unless some weirdness starts, or St. Brown, St. Brown, Taylor, Lamb, or Jefferson. St. Brown there. I like St. Brown in the middle of the board. He's actually my preferred click off in the middle of the board, which is why I'm underweight on Taylor and McCaffrey pretty much across the board, because I tend to prefer St. Brown in this range. Again, given the running back strength in round 2. Just kind of is what it is. Taylor off the board, so we will be looking at our choice of CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Ashton Jeanty, or James Cook. Justin Jefferson goes there. I am going to click in James Cook ahead of Lamb and Jeanty. Feel pretty good and pretty safe with that. You know, so high in James Cook and think that there's a world this year with, depending on how Brady and co are going to run that offense, where Cook is sitting closer to Robinson in terms of his production. We're back on the board now. I think I have a Cook Hampton team. I think I have a Cook Barkley team. Let's grab a Chase Brown instead of Hampton this time around and go that route. And then, well, we could look to grab Higgins here at 34 and then pick up Burrow here at 63 and kind of go in on the Bengals a little bit minus Jamar Chase, which I'm totally cool with. So after we grab Brown, Achane is up. And we are into, we're into middle second round territory. You know, I was saying in a couple of drafts ago about how the blue chip tight end pieces, Brock Bowers, McBride, and Colston Loveland, tend to go, you know, Bowers is in the back half of the second, Trey McBride is in the first half of the third, and then Colston Loveland's in the back end of the fourth. And because of when you're drafting out here, because of the temptation and sort of, I think, value of getting those players, your construction looks wonky. And I think that's when I've diagnosed it, why I like the look and feel of my teams much better from this end down here is exactly that reason. Is because what's happening is I'm not contending with Bowers, McBride, or Loveland, and I'm happy with a smattering of 3 middling tight ends, and I have more depth at the running back and wide receiver position. So it's not to say that Bowers, McBride, and Loveland aren't the right picks. In fact, I think commonly, especially as McBride makes it his way, I've seen him going later and later in the third here. He becomes more and more of a value, and I think Bowers is exactly where you want him to be in terms of his value versus the receivers that come after him typically. I just think it becomes harder to construct a team around that. So with Cook, I could also look at Allen, but I don't think I want to stack Allen and Burrow on the same team. And I say that because of what happens to our wide receiver room if we do that. So we'll kind of play this by ear. If there's a world where I could get Higgins going this way, Allen coming back this way, and then another receiver here and Burrow coming back this way, I suppose that's okay. And that's not an option I've had. I mean, the ideal would be Higgins this way, Allen this way, DJ Moore this way, and Burrow this way. And then we have both of our receivers stacked with their quarterback. we need things to fall correctly for us to get there. And I don't know that I'm going to prioritize trying to do that. We'll just kind of see how we go. So after we take Brown, you've got Achan, Hampton, Bowers, Henry as usual suspects. And then AJ Brown, London. Kyron Williams going in the second is a little aggressive. In fact, very aggressive. And then Brees Hall in the third. I'm not high on either of those guys. I've said this many times that above this pack of running backs, I have Javonte Williams slotted in behind Henry as the next best running back off the board. I just very high on Javonte Williams this year and think that he absolutely belongs as he'd be like what the 13th 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 yeah, as the 13th. And I think his situation, his volume, and his stability slots him ahead of Williams, who is looking to trend into a committee, Hall, who is in one of the worst offenses in the league, Love, who's in one of the worst offenses in the league and is a rookie. I just think you say, hey, especially when you're drafting like your second or third running back, there's just such a good value there at Javonte Williams range, right? After we go Cook Brown, though, I am okay if we're going wide receiver, quarterback, wide receiver, quarterback. I'm okay with that. We'll pick up some other running backs later. We don't need to grab a Javonte Williams. All right, so T. Higgins is here. He's top ADP. I typically lean into Lad McConkey. I just think he's a cleaner path to, wide out one in his offense. But I'm gonna hope to grab Allen here. And maybe we'll get him. Maybe we won't though. So if we do, we'll take him. If we don't, it's not the end of the world. We wind up with Tet or Waddle or Jacobs or Javonte Williams. So actually, as it goes, it looks like, it looks like we're going to get Allen here. So you know what? We'll take Allen off the board, and we're speaking this or willing this into existence where we can grab potentially DJ Moore here. It's funny because when I don't draft Allen, DJ Moore makes it all the way back here. When I do draft Allen, DJ Moore goes up here in the middle of the fifth. It just tends to be the way it goes. And then if we want, we can take Burrow here at 63. We don't have to by any means. And I guess if Moore doesn't make it back, depending on what receiver here, we can look to backstack that way. But if we go Allen and Burrow here at 39 and 63, we're done at quarterback, and we can really lean into positional players down here at 82, 87. What that would look like to us at 82, 87 is this range of players where it's like, I guess we won't tell, Tony Pollard probably won't make it back, but you got like Chuba, Pierce, Kraft, Sutton, Reed, Harvey, Dowdle, Addison, Godwin, all the way kind of down to like Dobbins. Like that, all that stuff's fine in terms of stacking out the rest of our running back and wide receiver room. So the Bijan Robinson player who grabs Rice goes McBride and Loveland. I think this is extremely dangerous. Remember, you can only start one tight end, and yes, one can go in your flex, but you have to start three wide receivers. So right now, through five, they've got two wide receivers, they've got one running back, and I think there's some weeks, unfortunately, where the configuration of their team is not going to stack out the way they want, especially if they're looking to grab a quarterback here in the 6-7 turn, which you typically do, right? They'll be headhunting like a Williams, most likely. It's just going to turn out a little wonky for them. DJ Moore is at 56.5, so we are going to need him to slide a couple of spots. As long as this aggressive running back sort of trend keeps up here, we're probably okay. We need Quinshon Judkins, Lamar Jackson, and Christian Watson all to go ahead of him at this point, which, I can only sit here and hope that works out. The St. Brown, Bowers, Olave, Waddle player is probably incentivized to take Judkins or pull up Jadarian Price. The player to our left goes Jackson, so we just need to fade this player taking DJ Moore for us to live the absolute dream. They take Watson. I am in for this. So now, if Burrow makes it here, we have that option. If we don't take Burrow, we still have Adunze, Thomas, Price, Tyson, Warren, all as phenomenal options, but I'm kind of think I'm interested in trying this. Yeah, we're going to miss one of these pieces, and yeah, they probably would be better for our overall roster construction, but I think this is just way too enticing to try to pull this off with this double stack here where we get Higgins with Burrow and Allen with Moore. And then on top of that, we have Cook with Allen and Brown with, we're doing it. We are totally doing it. I've never drafted a team like this where we've got through 6 rounds, we've got 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, and 2 wide receivers. But, we have the quarterback, the starting running back and a marquee receiver out of that offense. Obviously, T. Higgins is not the number one, Chase is, but I think DJ Moore is going to be the number one out of both of these teams. And it's just like, it feels great. Like, this actually feels really good. And we will look to pick up Kincaid later. I'm high on him this year anyway, and it would just make sense. So, yeah, this is a pretty cool team through six here. I'm happy to have it. It's looking good. Interestingly enough, the St. Brown, Bowers, Olave, Waddle, Judkins player opts to take Warren here, so they're done. We have both kind of our drafters here leaning in. They've got all the top tight end value. I guess Kraft is sitting there, but there's some injury concerns with Kraft, and I don't put Kraft in Warren, Loveland, McBride, Bowers territory. So both of these guys grabbed all of the tight end value, and it'll be interesting to see what their final makeup looks like. McCaffrey, Henry, Smith, McLaurin, Adams draft straight May. That looks great. And Jidva, AJ Brown, Neighbors, Statabu, and Irving grabs Hertz. Looks really good there. They're 1 year off on the stack there, but that's okay. Where's the Devontae Smith player? Okay, so the Devontae Smith player grabs May, and the AJ Brown player grabs Hertz. You'd think this would be swapped, but or Jaden Daniels here, right? But yeah, we kind of pulled the same maneuver they pulled on tight ends on quarterbacks. But again, I don't typically do this. If I'm going to grab an Allen or a Burrow, my quarterbacks are going to be worse and later. But this is fine. And we're not drafting another quarterback. So now we kind of have that window open to say, hey, in these rounds where we are looking at headhunting quarterback, that's where we're going to pick up our additional value. All right, in this draft, Dak Prescott, as I've been saying, is going way ahead of schedule. His ADP is right at 80 or 81. He's going down here at 73. Jaden Daniels goes at 74. You don't really see Daniels making it into the seventh round, so that's a little interesting. But I think the Robinson player did a good job of picking up Warren here to ensure they don't fall too far behind, especially with McBride and Loveland, Rice, and Evans. And our Jamar Chase drafter is on the board. He's got Jamar Chase, JMO, and Lemon, as well as Williams, Hall, Henderson, and then they picked up Williams right here. So, yeah, it's interesting to see these guys not going after their stacks, right? Like the Loveland player had Williams sitting right there. The Devontae Smith player had Jalen Hurts. It's weird. The Flowers player went after his stack. We clearly targeted our stacks, right? We did this very methodically. We kind of called our shots the whole way down here. So feels pretty cool. When it comes up us on 82, if Hubbard makes it down, we're definitely going to take him. If he doesn't, I'm interested in a smattering of these threats. You guys know I like Jordan Addison a lot. He is moving up the board. I like Dowdle a fair amount as well, too. So of these guys, if we don't get Dowdle, we'd be looking at Corum potentially. Of these guys, I think what I'm going to do is take Rico Dowdle here because I kind of think this is all the same receiver. I'm okay if I don't get Pierce or Sutton and I have to lean into Addison or Godwin or Downs. So I take Dowdle to add him to our running back room, feeling very good with him being our RB3, and then pick up one of the wide receivers here on the turnaround, which again is going to be, Addison, Godwin, Downs, Sutton's fine. Like any of these guys are fine that make it to us, and we're obviously going to get one of them and feel pretty good. I have always said this. I liked Jordan Addison as my RB4 a lot better than my RB3, but I think here against this stack, we have a ton of Addison. Maybe I should take Sutton or Downs. You know what? Let's go ahead and grab Sutton just to mix it up a little bit. I don't know that that's right. I think Addison's going to have a better year than Sutton, to be honest with you, but it just to balance things out just a little bit. And then also Addison's got bye week 6, and we already have Brown and Higgins on bye week 6, so Sutton's a little bit more diversified there. So our team is looking really balanced, very talented, and we're just going to be on that tight end tick in the middle, but we definitely don't need to touch quarterback, and we don't need to prioritize wide receiver or running back necessarily. In fact, if anything, we can probably ignore running back, with the exception of, and I'm going to say this now because we got sniped on him so many times, I want Ray Davis on this team. It's not a discussion. It's an absolute. Ray Davis is the most valuable handcuff in fantasy football. Tank Bigsby might be second. And the reason I say that is a lot of times, if the number one running back goes down, the handcuff is serviceable, but is not as talented. So yeah, they're going to get the volume, but what kind of production are you looking at? Ray Davis has shown that when you slot him into the Bills offense in place for Cook, he is a monster. And that's the type of guy that all right, that's the handcuff you want. Is he James Cook? Absolutely not. Is he insanely talented? Absolutely. To me, he's probably a starting running back on at least 10 plus NFL teams, if not closer to 15. And for that reason, it just makes him such a valuable asset. Now, I'm not going to leave him flat here because he's all the way down at 190. Actually, he's moving up. He's moving up slowly. He's at 189.3. He's inching his way up, but he is going to be consideration for us. So if we can get one more running back that fills that make probably starting role like a Dobbins or a Rashad White, if we can get one more of those guys and then have Ray Davis as our fifth, it's going to feel solid as heck. So that being said, depending on what makes back to us here, we probably want to look to grab a wide receiver if there's one that's of ilk that we like, which kind of cuts off with Wandale Robinson, and then grab a Jordan Mason, a Rashad White, or a Kenny Gainwell. Dobbins has been falling a lot too, so there's a chance he makes it back, but we'll kind of see how that goes. After we take Sutton, Brooks, Kraft, Corum, Lawrence, Addison, Fannin, Laporta, Purdy, Downs, Worthy, Wilson, Pittman, Stafford, Dobbins, Monundine, Nix go. Okay, Nix is the first quarterback off the board, stacked with Waddle for this team. Dart's paired up with Jackson. We are on the board. Jordan Love going higher than normal. Here, let's take Jacoby Myers. I have him the highest rated out of this whole stack. And then we're going to look at Gainwell, Rashad White, or Jordan Mason. And we should get one of these guys to fall down. I actually have them ranked probably like this or like this. Where are we at for 8? Rashad White and Jordan Mason are both going to be on stack for bye weeks. I'm not gonna make that the tiebreaker, and I'm not gonna take Gainwell over them. I think I'll kind of go in this order. Rashad White goes, so we'll get either one of these guys. I'm gonna take Mason over Kenny Gainwell again because of the forecasted production. And what I mean by forecasted production is Gainwell is not going to be an every down back. He's never been an every down back, and regardless of what that running back room looks like, there's going to be an aspect of committee there. Mason could be in a committee with Aaron Jones, but is probably going to be the every down back. Same thing with Rashad White. There will be some aspect of committee, but not like Gainwell. Gainwell's very talented. Gainwell's awesome, but Gainwell is the passing down back almost, right? He's kind of schemed around that, and I'm not interested in necessarily saying that's a better opportunity than Mason in this offense, especially with Kyler Murray, who's looking to power up this year. So yeah, so this feels correct. And then again, we want to make sure we keep an eye on Dalton Kincaid. He is somebody I'm hyper interested in. He's at 127. We're going to be at 130. So hopefully we can get him to fall. If we can't, there's still some really nice tight end value in this range. Isaiah Likely, I love. I think he's great. But I do want to say that when we take Mason there, we do pass on that tier drop off, right? To me, and I've said this in other drafts, there's a tangible drop off on not just wide receiver talent, but just player talent in general after you make it past Tasty Concepcion. That's it. After that, these guys start looking a heck of a lot different. So Kincaid went off. Well, I was telling my wife to fly safe and that I love her. Where did he go off? Oh, he went off way back here. Oh, we get sniped on Shakur, which that's okay. I mean, I would have looked to grab him. We're gonna grab Isaiah Likely here. Just to me, not only the best player on the board, but just a very good piece. Later in this draft, we can look to pick up Keon Coleman and Styler Belt to stack in with our boy Josh Allen here and feel okay about that. On the turn here, I will be looking to pick up Jalen McMillan. I draft a shit ton of him, and there's a reason for that. I think he's just in this range. I don't know how Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Coker, and Stefan Diggs are going ahead of Jalen McMillan. I just don't understand that. He's a great wide receiver. Happy to have him as wide receiver 5. Sutton, Myers, McMillan are all the same guy to me. That's all the same dude. We have these two guys. These are going to be our starting receivers, and then we just need one of these guys to show up per week. We've got great depth at running back here. It feels really good. Let's take a look at where we're at now. So 154, 159. I don't think I pull Ray Davis up here, but I do think I'm going to pull Ray Davis all the way up here at 178. To me, he's just that important to have with Cook. And it seems like, again, I always get sniped on him. So when we go down here to 154, 159, we're going to be looking at the turnaround. If we get one of these tight ends here, we're going to look at them for sure. Juwan Jennings, Trey Tucker is fine. Again, we're not going to look at running back again. And the reason we're not looking at running back again is I'm just going to tuck Ray Davis in with this group of 4 dudes and be good to go. That'll be our Fields. Now with wide receiver, we'll probably go up to 8, and the reason is we're going to stick with two quarterbacks here. I don't think we're not going to look at three. There's not a third that makes any sense anyway for us, especially after we went Higgins and Moore. And Bo Nix is already off the board. All the other ones are off the board. I'm not interested in trying to just force a Sam Darnold or something into our. We don't. It doesn't make sense, right? And if Allen and Burrow can't get it done, then this team's not winning the money, right? That this team's not winning $10,000. So it's like, all right, we have two of the best quarterbacks in the league, and if they stay healthy, we should be good. I love this team. This might be my favorite fantasy football team I've drafted on this platform so far this year. Mostly because A, it's very different. I don't often do this, but B, it is just so cohesive. Allen, Cook, Moore, Burrow, Chase Brown, Higgins. Like we have phenomenal pieces of two of the best offenses in the league, and it's just like what else do you want in fantasy football, right? Okay, when it gets to us here, what I'm going to look to do is grab Jawan Jennings or Jalen Naylor. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want one of them, and then I don't care what turnaround tight end we get, whether it be even down to Sadiq. I'm cool with all of these tight ends. I'm not so much higher on one over the other. I think they all have phenomenal upside, and I do want one of the receivers. Well, I was going to say I did want Naylor or Jennings. I guess even Trey Tucker is okay. Some of these other guys down here, once you make it past there, again, there's another tangible tier rate. So let's go ahead and take Jawan Jennings. And then on the turnaround here, we're going to take Henry Johnson. I always call Juwan Johnson Johnson. Johnson or Sadiq. We'll grab one of these three guys and have a respectable pairing there. And then we'll grab a third tight end, of course. But then here, we'll look to snap off Ray Davis. It's just, honestly, if there wasn't somebody I was hyper interested in, we're going to take Hunter Henry here, hyper interested in, I probably would snap off Ray Davis earlier, but he should make it back to us. So, and if he doesn't, it's not going to be the end of the world. All right. Okay. So this team's awesome. This team is really freaking awesome. Um, I think the weakest aspect of this team is our wide receiver room. After Higgins and Moore, Sutton, Myers, McMillan are kind of all the same guy. We don't really have a ton of depth here, but we're going to fix that because we're going to go up to 8 receivers. One. Two, the next two receivers are probably going to be Keon Coleman and Styler Bell at the very end of this draft. And then we'll have a ton of Bills threats. I guess Jacoby Myers also having a week 7 bye is kind of tough. We'll have 4 of our receivers on bye, but we'll still have Higgins, Sutton, McMillan, and Jawan Jennings in the picture during that week. So I guess we're okay. We're at 178. Again, we are going to click Ray Davis off the board right there, hopefully, and someone doesn't snipe us beforehand, which, you still have Bigsby, Kamara, Sampson, the other B. Robinson, and Sean Tucker, all as running back options before it makes this round. So unless somebody feels what I feel on Ray Davis and is willing to say, yeah, I don't have Cook, but I want Davis because I know something about Cook or whatever, we should be fine here. And again, we're pulling him up 15 spots on ADP. So 14 spots in ADP, 13 spots in ADP. Math is hard. So we should be fine. Okay. Anybody going buck wild? Not really. I mean, all these teams look relatively balanced. So this team with Genty Barkley then went McConkey, Wilson, Adunze, Washington, Pierce, Godwin, Mayfield, White, Andrews, Goddard, Young, Charbonnet. I don't know about Mayfield and Bryce Young. I don't know who the third quarterback's going to be, but I don't know if that's going to save them. So they're really weak at quarterback. The Jordan Love player only has Malik Willis behind as well. Dart and Shutt, I think, is fine. Oh, and they have Jackson, so they're great. That's solid. And then yeah, we'll see how we go here. This team, Achan, Jacobs, and Brooks is very light at running back, and they opt to pass running back there. We're just gonna snap off Ray Davis, and you might be like, "Hey, buddy, there's still so many guys on here." Yep, there is, and I just don't want to get sniped on him, so we're doing it. Uh, Value wise, knowing we need a third tight end, knowing we're done here, and that we're just gonna grab some, Bills receivers at the end. I don't think we can pass on Gunnar Helm. Oh man, I say that and we get sniped. Muth or Kate Otten. I'm gonna actually opt into Pat Fryermuth. I just think there's a path for him to be pretty decent. So I actually like our stack of tight ends a lot. I think they're really nice, serviceable, same dudes. I think Likely's upside this year is huge. Likely is a must draft for me when I'm drafting Jackson Dart. Absolute must draft for sure, especially given the questions around Malik Neighbors' health and then talking about what other threats are going to be there. But for us now, again, we're going to go up to 8 wide receivers. And because we're going to go up to 8, I am totally cool stacking 2 Bills wide receivers at the end and just having all the upside of that. We did not get Shakir because he got sniped from us. He would have been a consideration, but let's say, okay, where is Styler Bell? He's not that far down. Brazel just had season-ending surgery, or at least the news came out that he's getting season-ending surgery. All right, am I lost here? Bell, Skylar Bell. Boom. All right, and we don't have to do this. If there's a wide receiver we really like at the end here, we can absolutely evaluate that appropriately. I don't have to take Keon Coleman and Styler Bell. The reason I'm looking to do this is there's typically not a wide receiver I really like down here. Down here, these are all the same guys. So what I'd rather do is say, regardless of who our boy Allen is tossing the ball to, we've got Cook, we've got Moore, we've got Keon, we've got Bell. The only threats we're not going to have are Knox. We're not going to have Hawes. We're not going to have Shakir. I don't know if Shavers is still up there. We're not going to have him, but we got a good smattering of guys. We got a really good smattering of guys. So, again, this may be my favorite team I've drafted off all year long. It's interesting that the Allen Burrows strategy actually worked out, and I think I liked it so much because we did get Higgins and more. I think that's kind of what makes this go. But this is what I'm talking about. Like Darnell Mooney, Hurst. Hurst is probably the best receiver in this pack. But when we have uh, Josh Allen already, I don't necessarily know that we need like Hurst to say, yeah, he's going to help us win. Not at all. I'd rather say, hey, look, Starler Bell's looking great in training camp. Who knows what position he's going to serve, but we're going to get a ton of points off of Allen and his receivers. And like I said, I think James Cook is going to be a lot more um, in the receiving game this year too. So feels pretty good. Yeah, I love our team. I absolutely love our team. Feeling super psyched on this draft. Okay, final team: Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, James Cook, Chase Brown, Dowdle, Mason, and Ray Davis all at running back. T. Higgins, Moore, DJ Moore, Sutton, Myers, McMillan, Jennings, Coleman, Styler Bell at wide receiver. Again, wide receiver is probably our weakest position, but we do have 8 of them. So that feels pretty good. And then likely Henry and Fryermuth, 3 very serviceable tight ends, all 3 on different bye weeks. Our bye weeks are obviously heavy on 7 because we have so many Bills, and we're heavy on 6 because we have so many Bengals, but not so heavy that we can't fade some of that weakness when we play through. And overall, just really happy. And again, nobody in this draft really, I think, missed. I think that this team at 12 with Mayfield, Bryce Young, and Geno Smith is real behind at quarterback, and I think that's going to hurt them. I don't see a ton of stacking on this team either. Like they didn't get Tet, and so Bryce Young's hard. Geno Smith is stacked in with Wilson, I suppose, so that's okay, but just not super in love with that. But the rest of these teams balanced out pretty nicely, and I think that everybody kind of obeyed the rules. McBride, Loveland, see how they did. Robinson, Rice, McBride, Loveland, Evans, Warren. Daniels, Purdy, so they do stack Purdy with Evans. Daniels is unstacked. Then they get Michael Wilson, Crosby Merritt, Rodriguez, Okonkwo stacked. Okay, so they get Okonkwo stacked with Daniels. Then they do Williams, Dell, Judy, Brissett, Fields, Bell. Okay, so honestly, the wide receivers suck. Like Rice and Evans are great, and then it just falls off a cliff. And you could say, yeah, yours do too. No, I would argue that Myers, McMillan, Jennings, and Sutton is a better quad than Wilson, Antonio Williams, Tank Dell, and Jerry Judy. A much better quad. And you say, well, all right, he's got Bijan Robinson and Jalen Warren. Yeah, I like our running backs better too. Cook, Brown, Dowdle, and Mason. And then our quarterbacks are sort of like, I think this didn't work. I think this 2 tight end strategy absolutely didn't work. His team is just too weak. How did the Gibbs player do? Gibbs, Collins, Pickens. Then goes Montgomery, Swift, Stevenson. Wow. So went really in on running back. Gets Prescott. Then goes Downs and Worthy. Kincaid, Ferguson, Jones, Pacheco, Mitchell, Tesla. Yeah, I mean they're really weak at wide receiver too. So A couple of missteps by a couple of folks in this draft on both ends of the board. Everyone in the middle kind of looks cool, and our team looks awesome. Thank you for checking out the draft. Thank you for checking out the channel. If you like it, please hit the like and subscribe button. What do you think of this draft? Bills and Bengals, we're all in. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.